we hear about how a nonprofit tries to get high school girls in need into tech. Today on the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast. I'm Pius Wong. Recently, I spoke to Dana DeFebbo, both a web librarian at the University of Texas and one of the local leaders of ChickTech Austin. I sat down with Dana during her lunch break to talk about ChickTech Austin's mission, its volunteers, and even its name. Hear it next. ChickTech Austin is one chapter out of almost 30 chapters of the national nonprofit ChickTech, based in Portland, Oregon. And the chapter in Austin, Texas is starting its third year here.
So my name is Dana DeFebbo. I'm the assistant director of the ChickTech Austin chapter. Our director is Nicole Barada. I know Nicole got started with ChickTech.
Dana explained how ChickTech Austin started in that tried and true way, meeting people and building a team. Several years ago, Nicole Barada was on a business trip in Portland at OSCON. That's a big convention for open source software. And at OSCON, Nicole met a computer engineer named Janice Levenhagen-Seeley to be exact. Janice is the founder of ChickTech National. The two hit it off, and soon Nicole started a ChickTech chapter in Texas. Now back to Dana. How did Dana get started with Nicole?
I met her on a librarian social forum because Nicole's a former librarian, so she was looking for volunteers, and so I answered that call, and the rest is history. But yeah, we started about 3 years ago in November. It was just the two of us for a little while, and we've been slowly building our leadership team.
That leadership team led to the kickoff of their high school educational program in November 2016.
What we do is we reach out to area high school teachers and ask for them to nominate girls in their class or girls that they know. It doesn't necessarily have to be girls that they are currently teaching, but former students that are between the grades of 9th and 12th grade that have shown an aptitude for math and science, but really haven't either had the opportunity or the interest or the confidence necessarily to pursue technology. So computer science, robotics, even some kinds of engineering, either because, there's, the robotics club is all guys and they don't feel comfortable being the only girl, or maybe there's like one girl in there, or it's just not something that's really on their radar. So we ask them to nominate up to 15 girls that they know to participate in the program. We're also looking mainly for girls who've really never done anything haven't built an app or have not taken any kind of computer science technology class. And the other thing that we're also looking for is girls who are kind of on the lower income spectrum.
So these are girls who probably have missed out on some opportunities that other folks have had.
Yeah. Usually, their parents are not all college educated, or even if they are college educated, their parents just aren't on, don't really know a lot about technology and aren't able to really advise them in pursuing something like that. So what it's the program is really an introductory program to what a career in technology would look like. And we have a very broad definition of what technology could be. Yeah, so it's not necessarily software, it could be hardware. The programs or the instruction that we're able to offer is really just based on the people in the Austin area that are available to teach it. So Austin's a big software community, but we do have some people that are able to teach some hardware things, robotics. We've made some connections with people who are in biomedical, in engineering, tech. So we're not looking at just computer science.
You yourself, you are a librarian, but you work with IT, information technology, but you make connections with all these other groups around Austin.
Yes. So we do a lot of tabling. We send out a lot of emails. It was, slow going at first, but I think we've made a little bit of a name for ourselves. A lot of people have maybe heard of us before, because when we first got started, it was a little bit frustrating because we had this great program we wanted to offer, but nobody really knew about us. So we went to like every tabling event that we possibly could, just even if it didn't seem relevant. We just were like, hey, this is who we are. But going back to the high school program, so we get teachers to nominate the girls to participate in this program. And so we gather, I think the last couple of years we've gotten 300 to 400 nominations. And then we send out an invitation to the girls, inviting them to register for the program.
Getting these couple hundred nominations of teenage girls to invite can be a challenge. Dana says ChickTech has a rule that girls cannot choose themselves to be in the program.
Only because we really want the girls who have no idea that this would be good for them. And if the girls aware enough to be able to self-select into the program, I'm not saying that they wouldn't benefit from it, but we're really trying to get the girls who have no idea. Okay. So that's why we ask. And we also don't really, except for a few occasions, we really ask that only teachers or mentors or, coaches, someone that's not related to the student nominates them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a teacher, only because we feel that it's a little bit more special to a girl if, or just a child in general, if someone other than their parent is saying, I believe in you, I think this would be great for you. If it's a parent, we feel like the girl may or may not be interested in doing it because they feel like, oh, it's something my parents want me to do. So yeah, that's why we don't let them self-select into the program. But so we send out, we actually print out the letters and then we send the letters to an ambassador at the school. So a teacher who says, I will distribute these to the girls. So it's a physical letter that's hand delivered to them. But yeah, once they get the nomination letter and they can decide, that's when they can basically self-select into the program.
Right. And how many students end up choosing to enroll?
We have room for about 100 girls. We are 100% volunteer run. Everything is funded through donations. So our capacity is limited by how much we can afford to provide, but about 100 girls, we can bring. We accept a little bit more than that because there's always like kind of some girls who just end up not being able to because of a sports event, or they just don't show up. Maybe they forgot, but nearly 100 show up for the first kickoff weekend.
Dana explains that in the first kickoff weekend during the school year in December, the girls are assigned a workshop to go to based on their preferences. They have several workshop choices, so I asked Dana what some of the coolest ones were.
They're all cool. The robotics one is really popular. They really love robotics. They build a little rover that they can control with an app. Okay. There's actually a group of 4 UT students that have their own nonprofit for
University of Texas undergrads.
Yes. They started out when their first year with us. They were freshmen.
Wow.
So they're 4 girls that 2 of them are twins, whose parents work in the industry, and so they were brought up with this, and so they, they're able to pay it forward to.
I'm sure they're passionate.
They're very passionate. Yeah, I think, I don't know what their majors are, but some of them are computer science. But yeah, they come in and teach the girls to do robotics. It's really great to have. I mean, they're as close to our students' age as basically anyone because they're under 20. Right. So it's really great to have particularly them teaching because the girls, it's a really great role model for them because they're fairly young and they can see what they're capable of. We have another one that was digital filmmaking that the girls love to do. It's a kind of a combination of technology and creativity. And that's another thing too, is like, we're really trying to show girls that technology is everywhere. Like, you don't have to be a computer scientist to work in tech. You can do UX, you can do graphic design. So there's a lot of, if you have another passion, there's a chance you can combine that with technology if you're so inclined. And so we do Android app development. We have a developer from Microsoft does a wearable tech.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they create like a little smartwatch, I guess.
They create a smartwatch?
Yes, it's a very low tech. It's low tech, but it's high tech. I mean,
the girls can continue to go to a 4 to 6 hour Saturday workshop like the ones Dana described until June of that school year.
But yeah, so they do a monthly workshop. They don't have, they don't have to do it. We do ask them that they participate in at least 1 to 2 after kickoff. And some girls after kickoff, they're just like, this isn't really for me. That was fun, but I'm not really interested. And then we have some girls who go to every single workshop. They really want to take advantage of the opportunity.
ChickTech Austin's team of volunteers faces certain challenges trying to serve more girls.
Our main demographic are girls that are low income. Mm-hmm. A lot of times their parents aren't able to provide them logistical support, I guess, in terms of getting rides. So we try to remove that barrier. We provide transportation if it's needed for all of our workshops. We also provide food for that. We haven't had anybody really take advantage of this yet, but if needed, we would coordinate for childcare, either for sibling care. A lot of girls are responsible for, taking care of siblings while their parents work on the weekend, or, a girl who may have a child of her own. We haven't had to do that yet, but it's something that we are prepared to do when needed. So again, we're trying to reduce the barrier as much as possible. And this past year, we started another thing called pop-up workshops. And the pop-ups are available to any girl in high school in the Austin area. We don't provide transportation for that one because that's stretching our resources a little too thin. But it's intended for, our girls to be able to invite their sister or a friend. So we open it up to our girls first, and then we advertise it with the schools and Girl Scouts, things like that.
What's been the effect? I know you mentioned that some girls might not be interested in the beginning, but then some girls are loving it.
Yeah.
What do you think the real impact has been? I
think it's opened their eyes to, even if they don't continue on, I think it's opened their eyes to what the possibilities are available to them, to at least try to seek out advice from other adults in their life. I think a lot of times people choose professions or what they're going to do with their life after high school, oftentimes based on lack of opportunity, but also just not knowing what's out there and not having someone in their life being like, you can do this. This is what's available. Here's how we can help. So the other thing we started this year was a mentorship program within our cohort. That's what we call the girls who come in every year. And the girls can only participate for 1 year. So it's not, they can't go from year to year, but the girls who have participated in past years we allow them come back as volunteers so they can kind of still be involved. So our mentorship program was pretty successful this year. We did a very thorough job of vetting our mentors, and they kind of have a more one-on-one relationship with the girls that want to participate in that. That's a pretty rare opportunity, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, even someone like me, I feel like this is one reason why I got involved in ChickTech, and another, why Nicole also did, and most everyone else, is that we would have really benefited from a program like this. Although I didn't come from a low-income family, I was fairly middle class. My parents just didn't really know anything about technology, and I was always the one kind of tinkering on a computer, but there weren't a lot of resources available, and I didn't have anyone to really foster that. Not because they didn't want to, it just wasn't available. It wasn't there. And so, some girls can persevere and they go and find their own opportunities. I think it's pretty rare for anyone of any gender actually to go and do that. As far as we are still gathering data on what our actual impact is. So that, again, we're fairly new. Yeah. So, we're definitely in a data gathering phase. But again, I think just exposing them, I think does a lot just to encourage them.
And that's what a lot of people in the STEM education space have been saying. Exposure and the education that you're doing seems to be really helpful.
Yeah. And I think it's demystifying to the world of technology in that it, again, like, when I think people think of tech, they think software, they think computer science, they think coding.
Especially in Austin.
Yeah, especially in Austin. And so even girls who even have it on their radar may not really understand that.
You might have a limited view of what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, what are some of those misconceptions that you've seen or that you've heard about? Do they come in thinking
they think it'll be boring? Actually,
really?
Yeah.
And but you managed to convince them to come in that first day.
Yeah. Well, some of them are just like little rebels. I think they're like, I'm gonna try something new, and so they're kind of bucking their own like suspicions about what it might be like. We actually had a girl last year, I think she was really interested in doing like cosmetology or something when she was older, and she did the digital filmmaking workshop. And so she was like, I would have never thought I could or would be able to do this. And so it's really maybe start thinking about maybe doing something different, whether or not she goes into filmmaking or another tech.
Sure.
Maybe she just adopts it as a hobby, but I think having a technical literacy is advantageous to anyone, whether or not they're working in a tech field or not.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Just being able to be adept at figuring things out. Really, it's problem solving. That's ultimately, I think, what they come away with is learning how to problem solve in creative ways and using technology to solve a problem when applicable.
Different initiatives, businesses, and organizations that target STEM and STEM education are cropping up around the country these days, including those targeting girls. I asked Dana what makes ChickTech Austin unique among them.
So we are trying to fill a gap, I think, that exists with, there seems to be, a lot of a push for education, STEM education for younger students, middle-aged students. There's another program, a nonprofit, much more well-established than we are, called Girl Start. That's available.
One a little while ago.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're a younger demographic.
They're younger. I think they stop in like a sixth grade. Yeah. So then there's, a seventh and eighth, there's a gap there. We would love to be able to expand our program. Our first year, we actually did accept eighth graders because we were new and we really wanted to have a full class. So that worked out. But as we've gotten more established, we've kind of gone back to what our initial mandate is to do high school. But yeah, we're trying to fill a gap because I feel like once they get into high school, I think a lot of times people are like, well, there you go, fend for yourself. You can try to figure it out. You're an adult, even though you're like 13. So, I think there's, a lot of disparity amongst the different schools. So I think we definitely, especially the charter schools, like a lot of the charter schools, the teachers, we get thank you notes at the end of the school year being like, thank you so much for providing this, because, we don't,
had it
right. It's not something that they can offer to the extent that we do. It's provide an opportunity to people that wouldn't have otherwise gotten it.
Yeah, that's so surprising to me, especially in Austin. That was one of the things I was wondering too, because some people might think, hey, we've got Google and all these startups and Facebook and not just software companies, but other engineering companies, hardware companies. And yet some kids are not aware of the types of jobs that are out there. Yeah.
They may be aware, but they think, well, I couldn't do that. That's not for me. I'm not good enough. Yeah. And computer science is hard. Engineering is hard. But I think sometimes people just need a little bit of a push to say it's hard, but if you like it, keep going, sometimes people like the struggle. And I think struggle actually teaches people a lot, if they have the fortitude to go through it. And I think, everyone's situation is different. Again, we're trying to get the girls that wouldn't have self-selected into that program. And there's actually probably a few programs for girls who are aware of it and then have the means to get to it, and provide, pay for any additional costs. Again, we don't charge the girls a penny for anything. For their workshop the first weekend. Most of them have something that they can take with them. So either it's a website that they built or a film that they made. So those really are virtual things that they took away from, but it's theirs. Or something physical that they can take away. So the robot, they get to keep that robot. And so we provide all of the laptops that we need. So one thing that is a little bit of a barrier is a lot of girls, they learn all this stuff, but then they don't have a computer at home. So that's one thing that we really haven't been able to really address that well. We don't really have the means to buy a computer for them to have. But, you know, most schools do have a computer lab, so it'll be harder for those girls to keep going on at the rate that maybe some others would be if they had a laptop or we do track these statistics. I don't know if this is exactly right, but approximately 40% of the girls that participate in our program do not have a computer at home.
Adults not only are volunteers at ChickTech, getting background checked, transporting teams, running workshops, and being mentors for girls, but some adults are also served by ChickTech. Dana talked about their Women in Tech conference called ACT W.
We did it for 2 days 2 years ago. And so that's kind of where we're, for most of our event, like adult stuff will be focused on the ACT W conference. Okay. Most of the chapters try to have an ACT W conference every year or every other year.
Oh, cool.
Since it's a lot of time and resources, it's hard for us as, you know, we're volunteers, the ones who run the program. Yeah. So as we get more people involved in our leadership team, we'll expand.
Can you talk about more about the adults involved? So you said there are volunteers. You also interact with teachers and educators and the professionals and mentors. Maybe one by one, how would volunteers get involved with you all?
So we've got on our website, which is atx.chicktech.org. We've got a volunteer form. We'll look for instructors to teach either a workshop, like a kickoff workshop. So it'd be like a 2-day, about 10-hour workshop over the 2 days.
You've got curriculum or projects already?
No, we don't. So that's one thing that, again, it's a little bit more, we're not locked into a curriculum, but at the same time, it can be difficult to find people who are willing to teach because they don't have any experience building a curriculum of a workshop. They have a subject matter expertise, but they're not really attuned to teaching and building a workshop. But we do have Elena Winsler. She is our education expert, I would say, on our team. She works with the instructors on reviewing curriculum and coming up with active learning techniques and things to cover. But we do kind of rely on the instructors to at least come up with a bare bones curriculum, and then we can help them flesh it out because they're the ones who have the knowledge. And so we just try to help them structure it in a way that the girls won't find boring. They don't like sitting and being talked at for a whole weekend or a day when they've been doing that all.
Dana talked about how many of ChickTech's volunteers are not necessarily technical or not content experts. For example, for that first kickoff weekend, she estimates they have
over 100 volunteers working with us that come and do logistical things. They're room monitors. A lot of our instructors don't really know how to interact with girls or understand how to do classroom control.
Because they're not teachers.
Yeah, they're not teachers. So they're teenagers. They get distracted. Yeah. They can, be disruptive sometimes. Having teachers or people who maybe are parents of teenagers who know how to be
if you were looking for a certain type of person, so it's someone who can. I don't want to say deal with.
Well, we do a plushie, a soft circuits workshop. They build they use the lily pad Arduino, and they build a little plushie that lights up and plays music. And so we need volunteers that know how to sew. So you don't have to be a tech. You don't have to know anything about tech. Right. I mean, if you don't know anything about, we can still use volunteers. We are oftentimes doing tabling events where we're talking to people to spread the word. So yeah, we look for all manner of volunteers. We actually don't have a lot of volunteers that are tech savvy to be like teacher assistants or just help with the workshops to be able to answer questions with the girls. So a lot of times we just ask volunteers to like kind of follow along.
Despite all this, Dana still says her nonprofit would love to have more technical people to rely on. Software developers, engineers, and other tech professionals. We talked more about handling volunteers in Austin.
It's one of those things, it's delicate balance where we don't want too many volunteers for an event, because if everyone shows up, then we won't have a lot for them to do. Yeah. But really, people who are interested in engaging with girls and just like sitting alongside them and helping them answer questions.
Which may not be for everyone.
It's not for everyone. No. I think sometimes we've had volunteers who are just, they don't realize what it is that they volunteered for, and they come and then they can just kind of sit in the back of the room and, so that doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So we try to like balance it, but sometimes people volunteer and then something comes up, so they have to cancel or they just forget or, whatever. So we also have, one thing that we're really looking for is people to be, transportation volunteers. That's been a difficult logistical thing for us to try to wrangle, especially for the monthlies, because it's usually 1 or 2, maybe 3 girls. But of course, one of them's in Round Rock, and one of them's in South Austin, and one of them's in Manor, and so we can't have one person picking all of those girls up and driving them.
Your mini Uber system.
Yeah. So transportation volunteers are something that we really, really need.
It's so interesting that an education nonprofit organization has all these other issues to contend with that I wouldn't have thought about.
It's sometimes I feel like it's a part-time job that we have the leadership team just thinking about other things that are just to accomplish our mission. It's a lot of logistical, a lot of project management. For any one of our leaders has something that they're dealing with that's you wouldn't think about until you're actually starting to do it. But yeah, the logistics does take up quite a bit. It's so funny. Like the girls, one, it's just, I think it's a result of whatever their personal situation is, but some of them don't have a phone. So it's like trying to coordinate. Some of them's parents don't speak English. So it's like trying to coordinate with them. Okay, I'm going to pick you up at this time at this location. Just making sure that they got that email. Like a lot of times we don't get responses from the girls, but they got it. They just don't think to respond to us to let us know that, yes, I compute. I understand exactly what my instructions are. So again, it's just dealing with teenagers. It's like, most of us on our leadership team do not have children. So I think one that gives us the opportunity to give more of our time. But it's also like we don't have a lot of experience personally dealing with kids.
So maybe you want parent volunteers in some degree.
If we could get some parents that are parents of teenagers
who can deal with that.
Yes,
they don't mind.
Sometimes we just need a mom in the room to of
the participant.
Yeah. Or no, or like just a mom, just someone who's used to commanding some kind of authority, using the mom voice to like get them to pay attention. Yeah, there's a certain amount of authority, I think, that you learn when you're a parent versus when you're not a parent. I don't think it's a little bit foreign for us that don't have children to try to wrangle the girls.
Yeah.
So, but most of the girls, we have very few like behavioral issues that we deal with. Most of them are very happy to be participating. But yeah, just an excitement, just having them focus their attention. So that's why we love having teachers be volunteers. A lot of times the teachers that did nominate do participate and volunteer. So yeah, and then corporate like partnerships we really love. A lot of times tech companies give their employees there's a benefit for them volunteering to the organization. So we get money for their volunteer time. So for like Apple gives the organization money for every hour that one of their employees spends volunteering. Wow. I think Microsoft is too. Microsoft is a huge supporter of our program, and we've been really, really thankful.
They've been supporting a lot of different educational things I've seen.
Yes. We have a particular volunteer at Microsoft that has been really, really amazing here in Austin. So we've really benefited from his involvement. But yeah, we don't say no to anybody. The only thing, and volunteer opportunities are open to people of any gender. We only restrict by gender for the participants of the actual high school program. And that includes females, anybody who identifies as female as well.
So ChickTech Austin doesn't restrict their volunteers by gender, and its adult programs also serve all genders, but the high school program is restricted. The organization has had a few complaints here and there about that, Dana says, but the majority of people have been supportive. The organization also faced a little flack for something else.
We've gotten some pushback about our name too, like using the word chick in tech.
That's right, the word chick in ChickTech. Should we be down with that?
Yeah. Basically, our response to that is that women are allowed to call themselves whatever they want, and we can identify ourselves as chick, and we're in a way trying to just reclaim the word, that it's not something derogatory. It's something that we can use, and it's something that there can be femininity in tech. And this is kind of the way that we introduce it. I mean, we do have like our colors are pink and teal and brown. So we try to fall on sort of a neutral spectrum when it comes to that branding. But yeah, so that's
fair.
Yeah.
That's fine. What do you think the future is with ChickTech Austin?
I hope that we can grow exponentially. It would be great for us to be able to get enough resources where we can actually have a dedicated person running it rather than a volunteer. All of us volunteering, we really like it, but like we can see the benefit of somebody spending full time fundraising and developing and making partnerships. So we'd really love to be able to expand to a middle school program as well. But again, it's just limited by the more programs we have, the more people we need to run them. So managing even, with us trying to just manage our leadership team can be time consuming. But I really hope that the girls that participate in our program actually pursue something it's something that it would be hard to actually collect data on, but I'm hoping that eventually we can do like kind of a longitudinal type study and reach out to the girls that have participated, see where they are in 5 years and 10 years, and feel that we made some kind of impact on what they have chosen to do, and hopefully have increased the quality of their life with it. Technology is a high income potential. There's a potential. There's high income potential, and I'm hoping it'll maybe break some of the girls out of growing up in poverty and trying to set them off. Even the girls who are not, it would be. We really want to see more women in tech. Right now, there are more women in tech than there used to be, but not by much. And a lot of them don't stay in tech because, again, this culture of just women not really feeling comfortable in a male-dominated space. And I'm hoping it'll eventually change the culture. A lot of companies have successfully changed their culture, but most haven't. So it'll be something that I'll be interested to see.
It's a grand mission.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to following up with you and everything that your team does.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
We'll hear more from you later.
Great. Thanks.
Dana DeFebbo is Assistant Director of the Austin chapter of ChickTech. Want to learn more about ChickTech, ActW, Arduinos, or anything else you heard today? Check the show notes for links. You can also visit the podcast website for more. Check it out at k12engineering.net. help me share the show. Leave a rating, review, or comment on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, the Public Radio Exchange, PRX, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show on Twitter and Facebook, and if you're in Austin, let's grab a coffee sometime. Finally, special thank you to my supporters on Patreon. Once again, you make this show possible. I couldn't do it without your support. So if you would like to support the show too, because you aren't doing it yet, just go to my Patreon page for my studio. It's patreon.com/PiosLabs. That's PIOSLABS. A link to the Patreon page is also on the show notes and website. Our closing music is from the song Yes And by Steve Combs, used under Creative Commons Attribution License. The K-12 Engineering Education Podcast is a production of my independent studio, Pios Labs, in Austin, Texas, where I work on several digital projects like this show. You should check them out. Thank you for listening. Keep on engineering, keep on educating, and listen again soon.